Welcome back to the watch list. We're putting the airline stocks in focus as we look ahead to the holiday travel season. There's no doubt that after the pandemic, you had revenge travel and consumers felt pretty wealthy, right? They had an injection into their paychecks, and if they were at home, they had money in the bank and such. But now it's a different picture. So I'm wondering what happens next. David Nelson, Chief Strategist at Bellpoint Asset Management with me, and Lindsey Roeschke, Travel Hospitality Analyst at Morning Consult. Thank you both for being with us. So as we look at the domestic airlines, look at those stocks, you're seeing them down year to date. But what is the state of the industry right now? Lindsey, I'll start with you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, hi, Nicole. The state of the industry is fairly good from a consumer perspective. There's always a seasonal cooling going from the busy summer into the fall time, but travel volume is still higher this year than it was last year. Our own data shows that more than a third of U.S. adults have traveled domestically in the past month. That's up 3 or 4 percentage points from the same point last year. And early tracking for holiday bookings also shows that those numbers are up. So airlines have been posting mixed results in terms of their earnings, but from a consumer demand perspective, there's some softening, but it still appears to be pretty strong compared to where we were last year.
Yeah. David, you said that Delta has been the go-to name for you in the group. Why is that?
It's been more consistent. They have a better growth profile than some of the others. But, to the point that's trying to be made here, all of these are fabulous trading companies, and with the stocks down 30 to 50% off their highs, maybe this is a good entry point. There's money to be made. In some cases, a lot of money, but these are not long-term investment vehicles. They never have been. You're always one step away from the next crisis, rising energy prices, war, terrorists, pandemics, and today we can add one more, rising interest rate. When you look at the debt loads at some of these companies, a company like American Airlines, it's got a market cap of $7 billion. Total borrowings are somewhere around 41, maybe net debt 38 billion. That's pretty horrific. And with interest rates rolling over, rather the debt rolling over, refinancing, that's going to be pretty difficult for most of these companies.
Yeah, and as I put in Jets, UAL, Alaska, Delta, I mean, they're all to the downside, David. You said that Delta is your go-to name. And you said these are short-term investment vehicles, right? Southwest was the name people liked because it had the domestic presence, but now people are traveling more internationally. Do you like a name like Southwest, David, or no?
Southwest has always been the gang that couldn't shoot straight. From a debt perspective, they're actually the best position. Their debt levels are far less than most of the industry. I think there's a way out of this in the future. I actually think artificial intelligence is going to help a lot of these companies. Understanding data drives airline profitability, and getting your logistics right down to the planning phase on how many sandwiches you're going to need on a flight can go a long way in driving profitability. As the airlines roll out that technology, and they're already starting to use it, I think you could see the bottom line and the top line enhanced over the years to come.
Right. And Lindsey, you talked about the idea that more and more people are still traveling. You mentioned here even just the travel domestically, 1/3 up. That growth the 1/3 of travelers was up year over year. I would say the international footprint too had been on the rise over the summer. But as you look into the holiday season and next year, what are your expectations for folks? Because will they begin to feel the pinch of the higher interest rates or something like that? Will they pull back? And because a lot of these planes are jam-packed, you can't get a seat. How are they dealing with the prices? Are the prices going to come down or go up?
Well, we're seeing a little bit of price decrease going into the fall and the winter. In fact, I'm seeing some airlines do some discounting, which is really interesting, and I think speaks to some of that softening demand going into the off season and the need to sort of drive bookings from the airline perspective. But in terms of the consumer demand, I mean, we're seeing that people have really settled into the new normal. There will continue to be seasonal highs and lows. So the summer, the holidays will be really busy. The shoulder seasons in the spring and the fall will be a little bit lighter, but we're really seeing a kind of steadying of patterns going into the next year. And when we ask people what they expect within the next 12 months, it looks pretty similar to what they've done in the past year. So bar any kind of major change happening from an economic perspective, we really see kind of consistency from a consumer demand viewpoint.
Yeah, and you'll need a visa to go to Europe next summer as well. That maybe, I don't know if that will be a deterrent for folks. Anyhow, David Nelson, Lindsey Roeschke, thank you both very much for being with us.